Are you ready to shine? Thank you, Robert Anderson. Appreciate you being here. So today, I am continuing our talks about the season of celebration. And today we are celebrating differences.
Yay.
Thank you, Linda, for this altar. So after the service, you might want to take a gander at this a little closer. The snowflakes here in the front represent how each snowflake is different. Just like we are each different. But yet when we come together, what do you see, people? What do you see when the snowflakes come? Snow. Not all the individuals. Do you ever feel like you are the unique individual that you really are? Do you feel like maybe you're living life somewhere that nobody else really understands? If you are attending this service, which you are, then I know that you're on a spiritual journey. And many people in our world don't realize that we're all on a spiritual journey. That we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we think we're human beings struggling to get along. But we're actually spiritual beings. And so as spiritual beings, oftentimes people can't relate to what we're talking about, what we're experiencing in life, the joy that we have. The world didn't give it to me. And so people are looking at the world saying, how can you be so happy? How can you really think good is going to come out of this? And so sometimes we're left feeling like we're the outsider. I get to share with you a special story today. Dr. Seuss, hooray for Diffendorfer Day. So many of you may not know all of this story or even any of this story. I'm going to share it with you, and I invite you to let your imagination go wild, because I'm not going to show you every page. There were too many pages here in the story, and some of them, when I found them on the internet, they were really dark. So just let your imagination go wild here. I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diffendorfer School. We're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Den Zuber and Den Zot. It looks like any school, any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. Miss Bobble teaches listening. Miss Wobble teaches smelling. Miss Fribble teaches laughing. Miss Quibble teaches yelling. Miss Twinning teaches tying knots in neckerchiefs and noodles, and how to tell chrysanthemums from miniature poodles. Miss Vinning teaches all the ways a pigeon can be peppered, and how to put a saddle on a lizard or a leopard. My teacher is Miss Bonkers. She's as bouncy as a flea. I'm not certain what she teaches, but I'm glad she teaches me. Look, look, she chirps, I'll show you how to tell a cactus from a cow. And then I shall instruct you why a hippo cannot hope to fly. She even teaches frogs to dance and pigs to put on underpants. One day she taught a duck to sing. Miss Bonkers teaches everything. Of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's differenter than the rest. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He is the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, are they learning? This and that, such and such. His face is wrinkled as a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencil points from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyebrows. In fact, we know it's true. We've heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know. But we know he likes Miss Bonkers. He treats her like a queen. He's always there to watch her when she's on her trampoline. And that may be the trampoline is sending now. There are many people who make Diffendooffer run. They are utterly amazing, every single one. Our nurse, Miss Clot, knows what to do when we've got the sniffles or the flu. One day I had a splinter, so she bandaged me from head to toe. Mr. Plunger, our custodian, has fashioned a machine, a super flooper-doo. It keeps the whole school clean. Our music teacher, Mrs. Fox, makes bagpipes out of straws and socks. Our art instructor, Mr. Breeze, paints pictures hanging by his knees. In science class with Mr. Katz, we learn to build robotic rats. In gym, we watch as Mr. Bear hoist elephants into the air. Miss Loon is our librarian. She hides behind the shelves and often cries out, "Louder!" when we're reading to ourselves. We have 3 cooks, all named McMunch, who merrily prepare our lunch. They make us hot dogs, beans, and fries, plus things we do not recognize. As they cook, they sing their song, not too short, not too long. Roast and toast and slice and dice, cooking lunch is oh so nice. We were eating their concoctions, telling jokes and making noise, when Mr. Lowe appeared and howled, "Attention, girls and boys!" He began to fuss and fidget, scratch and mutter, sniff and cough. He shook his head so hard we thought his eyebrows would come off. He wrung his hands and cleared his throat and shed a single tear, then sobbed, "I've something to announce, and that is why I'm here. All schools for miles and miles around must take a special test to see who's learning such and such, to see which school's the best. If our small school does not do well, then it will be torn down, and you will have to go to school in dreary Flobbertown." "Not Flobbertown," we shouted, and we shuddered at the name, for everyone in Flobbertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Flobbertown. They dress in just one style. They sing one song, they never dance. They march in single file. They do not have a playground, they do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all. Their dogs are scared to bark. Miss Bonkers rose. "Don't fret," she said. "You've learned the things you need. To pass this test and many more, I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that red and white make pink, and something else that matters more. We've taught you how to think." "I hope you're right," sighed Mr. Lowe. He shed another tear. "The test is in 10 minutes, and you're taking it right here." We sat in shock and disbelief. "Oh no," we moaned, "oh no." We were even more unhappy than unhappy Mr. Lowe. But then the test was handed out. "Yahoo!" we yelled, "Yahoo!" For it was filled with all the things we all knew we knew. There were questions about noodles, about poodles, frogs, and yelling, about listening and laughing, and chrysanthemums and smelling. There were questions about other things we'd never seen or heard, and yet somehow we answered them, enjoying every word. So I'll stop there with the story and ask you, do you think sometimes you're in Diffendooffer school? Do you feel like the teachings that you hear are different from everything else that other people are learning? Now I'm relating this to our spiritual journey. So our truth here, Ernest Holmes, our founder, looked at all these different world religions and said, what is the same in all of these religions? And he looked at things like the oneness with God, that there is one God, and that we experience God as we do as individuals. We look at love, the commandment, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when we look at, and when Ernest looked at all of the things that brought us together, all these religions together, and distilled that into the science of mind philosophy, we hold that up. And some other religions might say, that's not right. That's not the way we do it. Well, if you really want to go to heaven, you have to do it this way. And we say, newsflash, heaven is right here. Newsflash, God is right here. God is not out there. We're not having to be saved from anything. Science of mind philosophy is a revelation theology, not a salvation theology. So we're not looking for the blood of Jesus or Buddha or anybody else to enlighten us. The enlightenment comes from us revealing the God that is already within us. And when we share in this philosophy, sometimes we feel like a real outsider to other religions. This season of December especially, for most religions, is looking at a season of light. And so the season of light throughout this December includes many different religions here. Hanukkah is the festival of light. And so Jewish people will celebrate this gratitude festival. What were they grateful for? Well, the Greek army was coming through the Holy Land in Israel, was trying to have them give up their belief in their God. But there was a small band of faithful Jews that came up and fought against the mighty Greek army. And amazingly, this small band of Jews was able to defeat the Greek army. And so they went into Jerusalem, they went into their temple, and when they went to light the candle, they only had 1 day's worth of oil. It took 8 days to go through the ritual of purity to purify the oil that can be used in the lamp. The Greek army had destroyed all the rest of their stuff, but this one vial of oil. And so they put it in their lamp to at least have light for 1 day, but knowing it was going to take 8 days. The oil for that 1 day lasted 8 days. That's what they're celebrating in Hanukkah, was God's faithfulness to give them enough oil miraculously to last for the 8 days until they could go through and create the oil that was purified by ritual. Are you in Diffendorfer school? Do you look at this and say, well, that's crazy? Why don't they just pray over it, bless it, and use it? But this is something that's very important to them to follow that ritual. So what can we learn from that? As we have faith in that one God that we all believe in, that God is faithful to bless our lives, and we will have all that we need. In the Christian world, this season of light is representing the birth of Jesus. Jesus was the light of the world. You are an expression of Jesus. You are the light of the world. Thank you, Robert. We are a light. I am a light. You are a light in this world. And so in the season of light here, Christians are focused on the birth of Jesus. And you'll be learning in our almost Christmas Eve service about the metaphysical meaning of Christmas and all of the people that are in the manger scene. And so it represents us and our spiritual journey. Many of the Christian traditions came out of paganism. And so to get more converts, they were taking some of the celebrations from paganism and bringing them into Christianity. We don't like to talk about that history. But we're all one. So why not celebrate the light that's there? Winter solstice happens on December 21st or 22nd, depending on the year. And so winter solstice came from that belief that the days were getting shorter. So the sun gods must be leaving us. They're withdrawing their heat from us because we've done something to offend the sun gods. So people did their dances, their rituals to try to please the sun god so that the sun god would come back and give warmth back to them. Winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. And so we celebrate there that there's the return of the sun. The days start to get longer with winter solstice after the winter solstice here. So a season of light. The light is returning to the earth. Do you see the theme here? And then in 1966, which was not that long ago, some of you weren't born. After the Watts riots in LA, there was a gentleman that created the holiday Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is for the African American community to celebrate family and community values. And the centerpiece of the Kwanzaa celebration is the candelabra there, the candle holder with those 7 different candles. And they represent the community values and family values of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Now, do you think in religious science we could get behind those kind of things? Do you hear anything that's really offensive here? Unity, self-determination. Don't we say we create our own lives? So we determine how we're going to experience life. Cooperative economics. We all know that when we work together, we can cooperate, create a much better world here. Purpose, creativity, faith. So what can we get from each of these? It's celebrating our differences, not being threatened by the fact that somebody is doing this. Well, you've got candles that are lit for this. Well, you have candles that are lit for this. But recognizing that in each celebration, there's a spiritual truth there that we can take on. I relate it back to, for myself, when I was going through school and I learned about Muslim practice. And the Muslims will pray 5 times a day. And they put out their prayer mats and they face to the east. And they bow their heads and they touch their forehead to the ground. And they go through this ritual as they do their prayers 5 times a day. Well, let me tell you, if you are a good Muslim and you are praying 5 times a day, how many people here in this audience will say, I pray 5 times a day? How many of you will say, I get down on my knees and I touch my head to the floor? Why do they do that? They do it because that's the time that their heart is higher than their head. So they're getting out of their mind and going into their heart. Do we have to be threatened by something like that? Or can we embrace that and say, wow, I don't have to do my spiritual practice like that, but I can say, bless you. That means something to you. That you are excited enough about your God, which is my God, which is our God, to say, yes, yes, do your practice. I honor you in that. I had somebody ask me, what do you mean when you say we honor all paths to God? And I thanked her for asking me, because it allowed me to explain. When we honor someone, we respect them. We value them. And so that's what's honoring all paths to God means. We don't try to tell somebody in religious science that your way is wrong. You have to do it our way. How many churches have said you have to do this? And people will believe it. And some people want to be told what to do. And so they'll go along with that. And that works for them. And so we celebrate that, and I say, great, if that works for you, go, do that. When Ernest was distilling his philosophy here, he was not looking to build a church. He wanted people to come and hear the truth from all of these different world religions, and then he wanted them to go back to their spiritual community and be the best Baptists they could be Be the best Catholic they could be. Be the best Jew they could be. But come together and recognize the spiritual truths for all of us. So if you feel like an outsider sometimes, remember that we get to celebrate all of these different religions. And what happens when you celebrate everybody around you? Miss Bonkers, remember her?
Yeah.
Miss Bonkers rose and said, "Don't fret. You've learned the things you need to pass this test and many more. I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that red and white make pink, and something else that matters more. We've taught you how to think." That's what we say in Science of Mind a lot, is that we don't teach people what to think. We teach them how to think. And how do you think? You go in and you see what resonates in your heart, in your mind, and you take what you like, you leave the rest. If it doesn't work for you, then don't embrace it. Many people will sit in a church and be told this is what you should believe, but it doesn't resonate for them. And if it doesn't resonate for them, it's not building them up and expanding their life. So make sure that what you believe and what you do expands your life, that it resonates within your own heart and mind. So let me finish the story very quickly. 1 week later, after recess, Mr. Lowe meandered in. We'd never seen him smile, but now he wore a grin. He soon began to giggle, then his giggle grew by half, and then it really happened. Mr. Lowe began to laugh. "You've saved our school, you've saved our school," he jubilantly roared. "We've got the very highest score." He wrote it on the board. Miss Bonkers did some cartwheels till her face turned cherry red. She bounded up to Mr. Lowe and kissed him on the head. "Hooray, hooray," she shouted. "I'm so proud I cannot speak." So she did another cartwheel and she pecked him on the cheek. Mr. Lowe coughed. "You all deserve a bow. Thus I declare a holiday. It starts exactly now. Because you've done so splendidly in every sort of way, this day for shall ever be known as Diffendufer Day. And furthermore, I promise I won't ever wear a frown, for I know that we will never go to dreary Flobber Town." Then we held a celebration. There was pizza, milk, and cake. Like everyone, I ate too much and got a bellyache. We laughed and hooped and hollered the entire school day long. Then we all sang triumphantly the Diffendufer song. So when we know how to think, we can take in the differences that we have in spiritual communities. We can see what is the truth in that for us. And we are allowed to experience and to grow into our spiritual truth. In Science of Mind, we often say we are a student of life. And so I found this little meme, I think you call these. The day you become a student of life, you will transform. The day you become a student of life, you will transform. When you are able to observe everything around you, not judge it, allow it to be, see what resonates for you, and then create the life how you want it to be. Do I have another slide? Yes. So this is the ending. To honor and respect all faith traditions. Not to be afraid. Not to be judgmental when you see somebody wearing something different than you're used to, or going through some kind of a spiritual practice that's not your practice. Honor them. Respect them. Allow them to have their own relationship with the divine, because we honor all paths to God. We allow people to be wherever they are on their spiritual journey. We don't have to judge others. We don't have to judge ourselves. We can live in our truth and know that we might be in Diffendorfer school, but we are the one expression, one power that is God. And just like the so many snowflakes that are all unique, each one of us is unique in our expression of the divine. Enjoy this season of light. Will you pray with me? Thank you, Spirit, for the light that has come into our lives in so many ways, through our spiritual practice, through our readings, through our music and our inspiration. You encourage our hearts and you open us up to a more expanded life, to joy and peace and beauty that we've never seen before as we open our minds and our hearts. Thank you. Thank you for helping us to stand in our truth, for giving us the power to be all that we can be. Through your inspiration, we say thank you, Spirit. I release my word, and together we say, and so it is.